Did you know that there are populations of people that never have dental problems? See, about 100 years ago, a dentist traveled the world to try to figure out exactly why these people didn't seem to suffer from any of the modern dental diseases that we do, namely cavities and gingivitis. He noticed that these people living these traditional lifestyles never had any dental issues as far as he could tell. Yet when they transitioned away from their traditional lifestyle into a modernized lifestyle, they began to develop cavities and dental deformities at a rapid rate. So clearly there was nothing genetically superior about these people. It had to do with their lifestyle. And no, it wasn't about some special dental hygiene routine that they had, and it definitely wasn't about fluoride. The key was in their diet, and it's not even probably what you think of. It wasn't the carbs or the lack of sugar in their diet either. It came down to micronutrients, namely a few key vitamins and minerals that these traditional diets supplied that our modernized diets simply don't, at least not nearly as much as they should to prevent the dental deformities that we see today. Dr. Price studied this phenomenon over and over again, and he even began to treat some of his patients with a specific vitamin mix that he concocted himself. Most notably, there was a vitamin called Factor X that he hadn't yet identified that he found to be the most important of them all. So today we're going to go exactly what Dr. Price found, how tooth decay and other dental issues arise in the first place, what Factor X was, as well as the other 7 nutrients that your dentist never wanted to tell you about. Of course, I'll also be going through the best ways to get these through food and supplements, and at the end, I'll give you even a sample day of eating to make sure that you can get all of these in the correct amounts. So Dr. Price was studying these traditional societies and populations and came up with a few absolutely astounding statistics. One of his analyses on 796 teeth from people eating native foods showed a decay rate of 0.1%. Yet that same population eating imported modern foods, that number jumped up to 21.1%. Yes, more than a 200-fold increase in dental decay in just one generation, just from switching the diet over. And most notably, plenty of these populations were eating lots of carbohydrates. So although a lot of people will tell you that you shouldn't eat carbs for your dental health, that doesn't seem to be necessarily true. And what's cool is that Dr. Price made sure to always take plenty of pictures when he was on his travels. So here's a couple of the most astonishing of those cases. Here's a pair of twins from the Isle of Harris, which is an island in Scotland, and the younger brother is on the left and the older brother is on the right. The younger brother apparently was on a more modern diet and has a lot of tooth decay, as you can see, whereas the brother on the right uses his native food and had perfect teeth and dental structure. Another example can be found here. These are 2 European children as well. The left was of the same family, yet on the more modern diet, and as you can see, some pretty bad tooth decay, whereas on the right, the child has no problems whatsoever. Here we have the Northern Indians. I believe these are the Inuit, and you can see here that all of these people had very well developed teeth. Yet in this picture, we have the same exact population on the modern foods, and as you can see, their teeth are getting absolutely destroyed. One more here, we have the Seminole Indians living today in South Florida, who I am not a fan of, go Gators, but as you can see, they had excellent teeth on their native diet. Here you can see the Seminoles who are on the modern foods, and they had plenty of dental caries. Now, this was a time before fortification of foods was a thing, so things like white bread, white sugar, white flour, these foods actually had no nutrition at all back then, whereas today we've wisened up a bit and started to put in B vitamins and iron and things like that. So obviously the average person is not going to have this drastic of a result today, but this was foundational research for the role of nutrition in dentistry. And in fact, Dr. Price would use a mix of high vitamin butter oil and cod liver oil to treat some of his patients, and he even noted that a few teaspoons of this a day was enough to prevent cavities as well as infections. Now, this might seem sort of counterintuitive to a lot of people. Oftentimes we think of teeth as just like stone or marble that sits in our mouths that we have to polish up every day, but that's not true. Our teeth are actively reconstructing themselves all of the time. Much like the bones, these are active tissues comprised of protein, mineral complexes, and they have their own entire set of cells that nourish these processes, and these all rely on nutrients. In fact, the outermost layer of your teeth, the enamel, actively has a process called remineralization. So if you have early signs of tooth decay, your body does have processes in place to remineralize or repair that enamel, which is amazing and something that people don't even know about. Of course, the mainstream public health authorities have told us that fluoride is the only way to do that, but that's not true. In fact, fluoride actually gets in the way of your native mineralization process, a mineralization process that includes many minerals and vitamins in order to facilitate it. It also requires things like saliva, and much like the teeth, saliva is often just boiled down to being like water basically, but it's not. Saliva has a number of different enzymes and proteins and different cells, and the pH of your saliva is very important for being able to maintain the structure of your teeth. It's also important for maintaining the oral microbiome, and this is probably the most important thing when when it comes to your dental health. Because yes, the enamel can remineralize itself, but that mineral structure that holds the teeth together, which is called hydroxyapatite, this structure can get degraded by high levels of acidity. And that acidity typically comes from bacteria. See, you're supposed to have bacteria in your mouth, but if there are too much or the wrong types of bacteria that are built up in your mouth, they produce lots of acids like lactic acid, and that can degrade the structure of the enamel. But our mouths have all sorts of different defense mechanisms in place to prevent this from happening. In fact, you have immune cells that respond to dysbiotic bacteria or bad bacteria in your mouth, and they can produce antimicrobial peptides that can eliminate certain bacteria. A similar process goes for gingivitis. This is mainly caused by the bacteria known as P. gingivalis. This bacteria triggers inflammation lining the gums, that triggers bleeding and other problems. But again, our bodies have clotting systems, collagen, all these different systems that are in place that can repair the lining of the gums. When we don't get enough of those nutrients, the body is unable to defend itself. And all of these factors, to the antimicrobial peptides, the saliva secretion, the pH of your mouth, the immune system within your mouth, the inflammatory processes that happen there, the actual minerals and the raw material needed to remineralize the teeth, these things are all controlled by nutrition and metabolism, which is why Price saw what he saw. When people aren't getting enough of the raw materials to provide their mouths with the tools needed to actually defend itself against these diseases, well, you know the story. And factor X, he found to be the most important of all of these nutrients, a vitamin we now know today as vitamin K2. In fact, recent research has shed even more light on the importance of vitamin K2 for dental health. A 2023 study here showed that the higher your vitamin K2 levels, the more protected you were against any type of periodontitis, which is a more severe form of gingivitis. Vitamin K2 status was also inversely related to plaque indices, so probably less likely to get cavities. And there's a number of different reasons why vitamin K2 is so important for this. Number one, vitamin K2 helps stimulate osteoblast differentiation. Osteoblasts are basically cells that help build bone tissue. So without enough vitamin K2, these cells don't survive, and you don't have the support of the bones underneath your teeth to support them. And it does the opposite for osteoclasts. Vitamin K2 also increases an enzyme known as ALP, or alkaline phosphatase, and this enzyme is very important for the remineralization process, and it's also important for deactivating pathogenic bacteria. Of course, vitamin K2 is also important for blood clotting, so if you have bleeding gums, this is a no-brainer. It has direct anti-inflammatory effects throughout the body, and probably most famously of all, vitamin K2 has a role in calcium metabolism. It binds to calcium extracellularly, and it prevents it from going into your arteries, and it helps deposit it into the hard tissues where it's supposed to go. The RDA vitamin K2 is around 100 micrograms per day, and you can supplement it as either MK4 or MK7. MK4 is the form that is normally in foods, but MK7 has a longer half-life, so basically you need to take less of it and it lasts longer in your body. If you are going to supplement with MK4, you would have to do multiple milligrams per day, but MK7 you can get away with 100 or 200 micrograms. Foods highest in MK4 are going to be hard cheeses, beef liver, egg yolks, while MK7 is really in fermented foods like natto. So the second most important nutrient for your dental health is going to be vitamin D. One of the main things vitamin D does is it promotes calcium absorption. Obviously, your teeth need calcium to exist. But even more importantly, vitamin D helps promote the production of those antimicrobial peptides that we were talking about that can help keep the mouth clean from dysbiotic bacteria. Vitamin D also helps promote saliva secretion. And we even have some interesting studies showing that if you give people vitamin D, even in small amounts, if you take their saliva, it will stop cavities from forming on experimental teeth, which is kind of crazy. Other studies have shown that sufficient amounts of vitamin D can cut your risk of dental caries by half. Pretty amazing stuff. Of course, vitamin D is not super easy to get from food, but it is super easy to get from the sun. Well, at least if you live somewhere sunny. If not, then I would probably suggest measuring your 25-hydroxy vitamin D levels. And I would also suggest probably supplementing anywhere from 5,000 to 10,000 IU per day until you're above 40 nanograms per milliliter. Number 3 on our list is going to be folate, or vitamin B9. And folate deficiency is also a major player in a lot of different dental diseases. Folate is kind of underrated in terms of its impact on the immune system, but it's very important for defense against bacterial pathogens, and it also helps stop bleeding and things like canker sores. A deficiency of B9 can also cause elevations in systemic inflammatory cytokines, and systemic inflammation is going to be bad for all the systems in your body, but especially in your mouth. It's called folate because of foliage. It's in a lot of green leafy vegetables, but it's also in fruits, a little bit less reliably so in pastured eggs and beef liver, and you want to try to get around 400 micrograms a day ideally. Number 4 is going to be calcium. This one should be extremely obvious, but a lot of people that I work with don't get enough calcium. I think at least a gram of calcium per day is what you should shoot for, which is about 3 glasses of skim milk. And yes, it's pretty obvious, but the main role of calcium is to physically form the mineral structure of hydroxyapatite, which makes up your enamel. Number 5 is going to be zinc. Now, zinc is always going to be very important for any cell type that rapidly turns over. Things like your skin, your immune system, your gut, and that includes your mouth. The reason for that is because zinc is needed for the differentiation and the proliferation of various cells. So proliferation is when cells multiply. Differentiation is when they turn to whatever cell type they need to be. So things like the inside of your mouth mouth where cells are constantly needing to be produced and differentiated, zinc is going to be very important there. And zinc is also one of the primary anti-inflammatory nutrients, having a direct inhibitory effect on our intracellular inflammatory cascade. Best sources of zinc, number one, is definitely oysters by a mile, but also things like red meat, dairy, and some other seafoods are really good on it as well. At the very least, you want to get about 10 milligrams of zinc a day, and you can supplement with forms like zinc gluconate or zinc acetate, zinc sulfate, zinc bisglycinate. Those can all work very well. Number 6 is going to be vitamin A, and some of the earliest studies we have on vitamin A showed that deficiency of it would cause a lot of problems in the dental health of animals. Vitamin A typically synergizes with vitamin D for a lot of different functions, and that's because within the cell, within the nucleus where your DNA is, there's specific molecular machinery that basically binds both vitamin D and vitamin A, and a lot of times those machines are basically working together physically. But vitamin A is very important for things like wound healing. It's also important for saliva secretion, and I mean, just look at what these people's teeth look like when they don't get enough vitamin A. Yeah, not pretty. I'm not a huge fan of supplementing with vitamin A for a number of different reasons, but if you want to get enough from food, beef liver is absolutely king. You only have to do like 4 or 5 ounces a week, or you could eat egg yolks, other types of dairy. Those will typically be good on vitamin A as well. Number 7 is going to be protein, and that's right. Teeth are not just minerals. Same goes for bones. These tissues actually do have quite a bit of protein that makes up their structure. So if you're not getting enough protein, you're going to have a tough time regenerating those tissues. Protein also makes up the foundation of all of your enzymes and all of your different proteins within the mouth that are involved in things like the immune response. Finally, we have vitamin C. Vitamin C deficiency, also known as scurvy. A well-known effect of it is to have bleeding gums and problems with your teeth. That's because vitamin C is very important for collagen production. And there's tons of collagen that makes up the inside of your mouth and your gums. So if you have bleeding gums, I would definitely look into vitamin C and K2 more. But it's also a very important antioxidant. It's very important for your immune system. Best source of vitamin C are going to be fruits, especially citrus fruits. Also bell peppers, leafy greens if they're not cooked, kiwis, berries. These are all good sources of vitamin C. You want to aim for at least 100 milligrams a day, but if you're supplementing, you can definitely go with more than that. Now, all of this doesn't mean that you should totally ignore your dental hygiene either. Things like brushing your teeth and flossing are obviously still extremely important and helpful for your teeth. The problem is most of the time people only do these things and they're not providing the raw material and the resources for the mouth to be healthy. As you can see, as long as you're eating a good diet with a lot of whole foods, animal foods, diverse plant foods, fruits, vegetables, dairy, with a little attention to detail, you should be able to knock out all these nutrients pretty easily. So here you go. Here's a full day of eating where you can hit all these numbers in one shot. For breakfast, you have 3 whole eggs with a cup of spinach and a half cup of low-fat cottage cheese with 1 medium orange or orange juice. For lunch, 5 ounces of ground beef, pretty lean, a roasted sweet potato, and 1 ounce of hard cheese. For dinner, 5 ounces of chicken, a cup and a half of steamed broccoli, a cup of rice, half of a red bell pepper, a cup of non-fat plain Greek yogurt, and a half cup of strawberries. Seems like a pretty normal day of eating to me. And just like that, you have all of your nutrients that we talked about in this video all hit. And like any other system with your health, your dental health is affected by everything having to do with your health. So if you have gut issues, if you have insulin resistance, if you have chronic stress, any of these things are not just going to affect one system in the body, they're going to affect everything, and that definitely includes your mouth. So it's important to take a systemic look at these things. And if you're interested in getting that systemic, deep approach to health, you should definitely go book a free call with us at Prism. I'll put the link here as well as in the description and in the pinned comment. We help clients all the time with various health issues, and I'd love to be able to help you guys next. And if you're wondering why there's such an emphasis on fluoride and why I'm not exactly a big fan of it, I would definitely go check out this playlist of these videos that we did about fluoride, the history of fluoride, and why it can be toxic for your brain. Go check it out.